Another common use for booleans or flags is to prevent something from happening more than once. We had this game is paused flag that we would toggle back and forth, but maybe we want something to happen only one time, for instance a game over. And let's just create a game over function here, function game over, control log game over. And maybe if we click the square a sufficient number of times, we would get game over. And maybe we're going to add lives. Let lives be 3, and every time we click the square, we are going to lose a life. Lives minus minus, you have lives left, and we don't want to show the current points. So this would give us 2 lives, 1 life, and 0 lives. And then of course say here, if lives is equal to 0, then we have game over. You have 2 lives left, you have 1 life left, and we have game over. Of course, in our game over function, we would have to pause everything and stop all event listeners, but we'll just pretend that happens. So this is fine. We have a game over when we have 0 lives left. But say we also have a timer, a timeout that only allows us to play for a short while. Set timeout. We will call game over in 5 seconds. And that means we have 5 seconds where we can play. And we have game over. But what if we managed to lose all lives? So we have game over now. And then we have game over again here. When the timer runs out. We want to prevent that. We want to say, okay, when we are here in game over, everything should stop. We should not have the timer also call the game over. Let's just pretend we cannot stop the timer in any way. So we need to ignore it instead. So we add another flag. Let game has ended. And that is certainly false. But then once we get into game over, we would say game has ended is now true. But before we said, we ask, was it true? So if game has ended, if that is already true, that means game has already ended. Ignore the second time. But else, that means the game has not ended. And then we're going to, I'm just going to use the pause game function here. And we are going to set game has ended to true. And just console log the game has really ended. So now I can click and I have game over. Let's just be a bit quicker. So the game has really ended. And there comes the second game over from the timeout, but it ignores everything because the game has already ended. So this flag is not one that we toggle, except that we maybe in the beginning of the game where we started, we say, okay, in the beginning here, game has ended, it's false. So we'll make sure that the game hasn't ended when it starts. But otherwise we just set it to true one time and make sure that we cannot enter this bit of the function again ever, because now we put a lock on it. So this is using flags as locks especially useful with timeout.